Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the HGUC Ex-S Gundam. So once again, keep in mind this is a very old high grade, as this is from 2002, so it's now definitely pushing some years and definitely showing some age in the build, but that's not to say it's not actually a bad kit. There's some pretty cool features and there's definitely a lot going on with this kit, so there's quite a bit to it. It's actually a miracle that it's actually standing by itself with all that weight and a huge backpack on the back. I think that definitely says something that it's actually able to stand on its own. I was not expecting it to be able to do that, but yeah, it is, so that's pretty cool. And once again, just another reminder that I did buy this kit for a very specific reason. It's something that I have planned to do with this. I'll talk about that at the end, though. I want to just focus on just reviewing this here for you guys first before getting into what my actual plans with this are. So let me give you a look around here. I'm really nervous to touch this at all because I'm afraid it's just going to fall backwards, but hopefully you guys can get a look around this here before it falls down. Now, if you did want to use this on an action base, it doesn't have any peg hole up underneath the waist there, so you're going to have to use like that fork style action base connector, but actually I don't really like using those, so I'm just going to give you guys a little demonstration here in just a moment. I just want to give you a look around the kit first. So if you were to compare this with the high grade S Gundam, now sorry to say I don't have a high grade S Gundam to compare this with for you guys, but obviously aside from that huge backpack that we now have on there, it has extra parts on the sides of the legs, it has different kneecaps, it has those really huge big kneecaps there where the incoms are stored, the reflector incoms, as well as the beam saber handles. Those beam saber handles are molded in there, but they don't actually come out. We have separate beam saber and beam saber handles. I'll show you those in a minute. We have a different side skirt armor as well. We have the beam cannons there for the side skirts. We have the eye field generator on the chest. We have the extra piece on the front skirt for the extra support for the beam smart gun. So there's definitely quite a bit changed from the S Gundam here. And just a reminder, we do have a few stickers here. I used the foil stickers for the eyes, but there's also these silver foil stickers that go on the shoulders, this green one that goes on like a chest camera, and then we do have these marking stickers here as well if you did want to use those, but I haven't just for the sake of this. So before we get into taking a closer look at this and the accessories, as you can see, well, yeah, the accessories. As you can see there on the kit, I have the open hands, so it's cool this kit does come with open hands, something that a lot of more recent high-grade kits do not have. But we do have a few different hand options for this. We have just regular holding hands, so these are going to look just like this. They're very plain, simple holding hands here. One for the left and one for the right, so you can hold the two different beam saber handles there if you want. You can also use these for holding the different weapon handles. And then we have a trigger finger just for the right hand for that. Then, as I said, for our beam sabers, we have the handles molded in together with the beam, so the beam is just molded in white here. You'll definitely have to paint that, but otherwise just pretty solid there. Then we have our main weapon here, which is the beam smart gun, and it's very cool, really nice design. Definitely going to be some seam lines on here, especially here on the tip. Pretty nasty seam on there, shouldn't be too bad to get rid of that. Nothing really moves on this as far as like the handle, or this is the radome, the disc radome there on that. This part here moves, and this is going to attach onto our front skirt. So we have a different piece there on the front skirt. We're going to switch out for this piece here, which will plug into that like that, and then that just attaches onto the front skirt for extra support. And then we also have this piece as well here, so what you can do is take off one of the side skirts, plug this on in its place like that, and then this also plugs up underneath the beam smart gun like this for you to have even more support, and this will be then attached onto the side skirt, so then you can have even more support on there. And then this piece has this part here, which hopefully I can pull off without any problems. There we go. This panel comes off of that, and then you can fold out this secondary handle, so then you've got this handle there that you can hold with the left hand, and then this part's going to plug back into there. Just be careful with that. So then you've got a secondary handle on there that will be plugged onto the side skirt. I'll show you that here in a minute. But first, I want to do a little demonstration here for you guys. Now, as I said, there is nowhere to plug the action base into this, but I want to use that just for the sake of this review. So what I'm gonna do is show you guys how to make your own hole for for these older kits. I'm just gonna use a pin vise, which looks like this. You want to make sure you have the right size bit. You need to measure that compared with what the peg is on the action base. And what I'm going to do with my knife here first is just make a little notch, which I just want to find the center, and I'm not going to worry about this being like too precise because really this is only for this review. So just gonna, with my knife, just dig out a small little point there, just so that will be the reference point for the drill basically, so the drill doesn't slide to anywhere where I don't want it. So you can see just made a small little notch there, and then it's just a matter of just drilling this out. And voila, there we go. Now we can use this on an action base and our problems are solved, I hope. So let's try this out here. Yeah, right, so there we go. Much better here now on an action base. Problem solved, and that only took a minute, but now I want to take him back off the action base for a minute. It's kind of tight there. As I now want to go over some of the articulation here for you guys. So the head will go up about nothing, down very slightly, and that's about it. So pretty bad articulation there as far as the head goes. I guess it goes down about like to there, not too bad. These wings here on the top of the shoulders can move around. Those are just attached onto the top of the shoulder via a ball joint, and then there's a swivel there. These do extend like that. That's more for the transformation. This is supposed to have a wave rider mode, but this HG kit doesn't actually transform. The Master Grade does, but this one does not. But anyway, we still have that gimmick there if you wanted that for some reason. The shoulders are going to move back and forth here like that, a little bit up and down, just kind of like that much there, because then we have this part hanging off the shoulder, which is also attached just via a ball joint. So that will move up and down like that, and then also it can turn a little bit, sort of, kind of, but not really. Anyway, so that's there. Some nice details there inside the shoulder on the side there. The arm then will rotate there at the top. We have a bend here, which is just a 90-degree bend there at the elbow, not a whole lot, and then the wrist just, of course, on ball joints. Here in the waist, there's not really going to be pretty much any movement at all, because like a part of the waist, the part of like the midsection goes down in a way like there towards the back that like basically blocks you from moving the waist at all. And of course, this is before the time where we had any sort of like stomach crunch or anything. So it's a little bit loose on there, but there's not actually any articulation or anything. So that's that. Our side skirts, which are actually just attached onto these sides of the top of the legs, are these beam cannons here, which can point forward like that or down. Anyway, that's what you can do with those. The legs are just attached on via a ball joint into a socket there, so they're only going to be able to move out about that far, plus we have this bumping into that there. So legs only able to go about that wide and not very wide, unfortunately, and then not really able to rotate too much, a little bit like that, but not too much there. In the knees, we have what would be a pretty good bend, but it's hindered by this part here. Let me see if you bend it just the right way. This is about the only way you can get the maximum bend out of that. But by this huge new piece that we have on the back of the leg there, you can see that's going to stop the knee from bending any farther than that. Speaking of the knee though, we have this huge piece there for the knee, which will move up and down, and that will also rotate a little bit there if you wanted it to. Pretty strange that we didn't get stickers here. It's like one of the big features there. This has like these big like camera stickers. Should have like big cameras there. So interesting we didn't get like a faux sticker there, a green faux sticker to drop inside that knee. But then for the ankles, this ankle armor piece here is not movable. That's just attached onto the legs, so it's just going to be the ankle itself that will move a little bit forward and back. It's pretty good. Side to side, you have a little bit of movement there, not too bad. And that's pretty much it for that. Now on the backpack, we have the main stabilizer here, which will move up and down. Again, that's just mostly for the transformation. For this, you're just gonna have it like that. There, these main thrusters for the backpack will also move up and down like that. And then we have these beam cannons here on the backpack. Now these on the S Gundam are just stationary, just like that. They don't have any movement except just rotating, but these actually have a little bit of extra movement that you can actually tilt them out. like that. So that's a pretty cool thing here built into this. Just makes it look a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more cool, I think, with those beam cannons like pointed and not just like perfectly straight on. So that's pretty much it for the articulation here. As I mentioned before, we can take off this piece on the front skirt. That just pops out there. We can also, let's just do the whole thing here, pull off this side skirt, and we're going to mount the beam smart gun onto here. So this part here just going to plug on to the side like that. This part is going to plug onto the front skirt. Obviously you should take your time with it and not manhandle it like I am doing, but just trying to hurry along with this. There you can see is how that's going to look with that all attached onto the front of the Gundam. Alright, so here we are. When that is all mounted, you're basically supposed to just be recreating this pose here now that I've got everything lined up. This is one of those kits where it has like a million different things you have to line up, like the legs, the knees, the cannons on the backpack, the wings on the shoulders, the things hanging off the shoulders, the side skirt rail, the side skirt cannons, everything, all of that. Yeah, it's just one of those kits that takes a while to get posed up if you're going for something symmetrical like this. But anyway, it's definitely a cool look. It's definitely a super impressive pose like this with that big gun. It definitely looks better in master grade form, of course, but this high grade is still also impressive. I think if you have this just on your shelf like this, it's still definitely going to catch some attention. So just in terms of the overall quality of the build, I will say that obviously it's old, so there's going to be a lot of missing just small little color apps and different things where you can go in and do some detail painting, adding some extra details as well. Obviously going to be a lot of seam lines that you're going to have to remove, so like the thighs, the shins, there's seam lines there. Seam lines on the arms, seam lines on the weapons, of course on the beam cannons there on the backpack. All four of those are all just sandwiched together, so lots of seam lines there on the backpack. And that just shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, but just have that in mind if you're wanting to get one of these older kits. They definitely have a lot more seams on them. And as you can see here, action poses or anything dynamic is not going to be this kit's strong suit. So if you're wanting to get this kit to do any sort of action pose with it, especially one with the beam sabers, you're not really going to be able to get a whole lot there. The arms I think are fine, as they're definitely limited, but the arms are definitely okay. I think where you're going to have like the biggest problem is just that the knees don't really bend and that the hips just don't really go out. The legs don't go out very far at all. And they're also just quite heavy, so even if you can get them out, they are going to be a little bit just heavy on there. So yeah, above the waist, pretty okay. Below the waist, pretty limiting in terms of your posing options for this. So that is one unfortunate side of this kit. Now I just want to do a couple of comparisons here quickly for you guys. Now this kit, ignore it being just kind of very dusty and dirty. This is the old 1980s Ex-S kit. Now as you can tell, it's looking very old. Now if you thought this HG kit looked dated, this one is going to be very, very dated. It's missing even more colors. The proportions are even more off. And it's very, very simple. So if you're like wanting to get a HG size 1/44 scale size Ex-S Gundam and you see like this 80s kit and you think, oh, it's like, you know, $5, $10 cheaper, $15 cheaper maybe even. So you think maybe go for this one. I would say definitely don't. Just spend a little bit more money and get just the HGUC version because it's obviously much, much better. Now just in terms of size, just to give you guys a size comparison, the Ex-S is a very large Gundam. So here is the 1/44 scale RX-78-2 Gundam, a regular 18 meter tall Gundam. Now obviously the Ex-S is up on the base, so it's going to have a little bit of extra height there. But just to give you an overall idea of the size difference, the Ex-S is much, much larger. So there you go. It's not quite the size of like a 1/100 scale size kit, but it's definitely getting pretty large, especially just because it has a lot of large parts. The shoulders, the knees, and that huge backpack are very large on it. So that's there. So that's pretty much going to wrap up my review of this kit. There's really not a whole lot much else I can say about it. It's an old kit that is going to take a lot more work. You're going to have to do a lot of extra painting on it, a lot of extra seam line removal on it, and it is still then going to be very limited in its posing options. So it's just an old high grade. If you wanted a better version of the Ex-S Gundam, then go for the master grade. The master grade is quite expensive and definitely a long build process, and it's a very large kit. So just keep that in mind. But the Master Grade is a cool kit. So now let me just get into what my plans are for this kit. I recently reviewed the frame arms frame architect, and so here that is here. I've got the frame just kind of stripped down there, took off a few extra pieces including the head and stuff, and the proportions actually line up pretty well. I will have to do a little bit of modification just to the proportions of everything, of course, as well, but what I want to do is just put this frame into this Gundam. So there will be definitely some changes a little bit in the proportions. There will be some changes in just a few different areas, like the chest or the knees. I think just like the look of them might also be a little bit altered. So it won't be like exactly, there'll be definitely just some changes. It'll look a little bit different. But this is something that I want to be working on in the near future, though not immediately. So you will see more of this soon. I'll go through like as much of the process as I can on video just to share that with you guys. It's been a while since I've done like a project where I was doing a lot of modification to something, so just wanted to share that with you guys. So I'll be doing that relatively soon. Really excited about this idea, and I think it'll work really, really well, and it'll definitely add a lot of articulation here, especially in the lower legs. I'm planning on using all of this frame for this, so it's basically just going to be not using every joint part of this kit and then just having to modify this a little bit and modify stuff, basically just like gutting out the inside of the armor parts so that they'll fit over this frame. So shouldn't be all that complicated. It'll definitely be pretty time consuming, but shouldn't be too hard anyway. So go over that in the future. Anyway, that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.